Hello. So for today's class, we are going to do a little hip release. So it's gentle hip release and gentle hip strengthening. So a lot of lateral strength, which will include the glutes and the core, of course. You can use a strap. I've got an exercise strap, a yoga strap, or even like a robe tie or a towel for when we do some of this leg movements with support. Okay, so let's get started. We're just going to start on our back as you make your way down, just noticing where your breath is, taking up a little bit of space, even if you can open up through the arms and then tuck those shoulder blades under. And as we breathe here, I want to breathe all the way down to the lower part of the rib cage, even releasing through core, pelvic floor, so softening, softening, softening. A lot of times when our core is weak or our hips are weak, we clench. We clench in the groin or in the core we're constantly holding without realizing. So using this breath to sort of balloon through the belly and soften. And we'll stay here for a few breaths. Of course, you can pause it and stay longer. Noticing the back of your rib cage expanding. You can release the legs down to the mat if that feels good. And as we take our last two breaths here, just starting to move the head from side to side. So checking in with the neck. It's all related. Slowing down that breath. And then we'll take it back to center. We're going to take those knees into the chest and just rock it out. Noticing your hips, the upper hips, lower hips, connecting with the mat. We'll take it back to center. Hold onto your right knee and just stretch that left leg long. And just circle out the ankle. Circle the other way. Pointing and flexing. And then we'll switch sides. Bring the other side in, give it a little bit of pressure, and then circling out the ankle. Circling out the other way. Pointing and flexing. Think of every joint. Whenever we're moving the joints, circling through the joints, we're lubricating the joints. So I always think of the Tin Man when we're coming through and just bringing a little more mobility to every joint as we work our way up. So stretch your legs long, take your arms above your head, take a nice big breath here. And then we'll bring one leg in and then the other. Bring your hands down the center, let your knees fall open for a moment. Now see if you can take a breath down to the lower part of the belly. Releasing through the groin if you notice that you're holding. From here, we're going to take the left leg and just put it on the mat. Take your strap or your towel or whatever you're using. Put it around the ball of your foot. Stretch it long. And then let that leg hang. So we're not thinking, how high can I put my leg? Look how good I am at this. We're going to lower it down. Let the strap do the work. Actually, I kind of like this stretchy strap for this. From there, you can add tension. You can always bring it in a little bit. We're focusing on the back of the leg, keeping both hips on the mat. Take a nice big breath here. And as you exhale, we'll start to circle the legs. So just little circles. So now we're focusing on the hip joint. But the core is involved too, so we're stabilizing through the hips, using our core, keeping those hips still, just the leg is moving. And you can take it bigger, wider, slower, sort of like you're moving through honey. We'll circle the other way. And then the next time that leg comes open, you're gonna hold it in an open position. You can either bend the knee or let the leg go long, whatever feels better. I like to open the other knee too, just to sort of counterbalance. Nice big breath here. And as you exhale, we'll take it across the body, but we're keeping this right hip on the mat. So right leg goes across, right hip stays glued. A couple breaths here. You can think about pointing the baby toe away from your body. Bring it back to center. Find that last hamstring stretch here, wherever that feels good. So stretching up the back of the legs, a subtle stretch, nothing you're fighting against. And then we'll switch sides. So I'm just gonna bring my other foot in. If your hips are stiff or your back is a little sore, you keep this foot on the mat, the knee bent. If you're a little more flexible, then stretch the leg long. All right, so finding that hamstring stretch on this side. We know our sides are different, right? So let the legs soften, let the kneecap soften. And then from there, if you want to add tension, you can. Breathing into the tension. And starting to circle it out. I like to start with just small little control circles to see if I can keep my pelvis stable. And then you can start to make it a little bigger. Staying with that breath. Circling out the other way. I think this is one of the best ways to lubricate the hip joint because most of us can access this on our backs. Often when we're seated or standing, we end up sort of flexing in the spine and it becomes out of the leg and it ends up being a lot more about the spine. So here we can turn all that off and just focus on the hip. As long as your strap is long enough. All right, the next time the leg comes open, you're gonna hold it there. Try the bent option. A lot of people don't like to try it because they feel like it's not as good as the straight option, but it still feels good and it's a lot more accessible for some. You can always straighten it out. Stay for a breath. We're anchoring down through the opposite hip, so our hips are staying stable. As you exhale, you can straighten it out. We're going to take it across the body. So whatever that means for you, maybe it's 2 inches across, maybe it's way across. But see if you can keep this hip on the mat. So it's more about the outside of the leg and less about twisting the torso. And bring it back to center. One last hamstring stretch. Maybe you found a little more mobility. Maybe you want to bring it in more. Maybe you want to soften the leg more. Feel good to have that leg's weight supporter. And then we're going to let that strap go. Let the legs go. You can straighten out the legs. Take your arms up. All right, and then from here, we're gonna roll onto our left side. You can support your head, and you're gonna bring your knees together. So we're coming into clam. This is one of my favorite poses for core and hip recovery, working together. So you get your knees out from the hips, the feet are in line with the back of the body. You can adjust this to make it better for yourself. Bottom knees are gonna stay down. We're just gonna open and close. And when I open, I'm not opening my hip. I'm keeping my hip bone pointing forward and I'm just engaging and lowering, engaging and lowering. And if you can think about a little tightening in the tummy as you lift. So you're almost reteaching the core how to prepare and then extend the leg. can add little exhales to really get those deep core muscles. You can feel it. Exhale, then lift. Let's go for 3 more. We're warm. We've loosened up the hips and now we're engaging them. All right, finishing up your last one. I'm going to lift the feet like a little fishtail. I'm going to bring them back down. So I'm sort of thinking about squeezing in the torso to lift the feet off the mat. If you exhale, we're going to create some space to squeeze so that we're not creating a downward pressure. We want that in and up, in and up, in and up. Yeah, let's go for 3 more. I am squishing my lunch. Last 2. Last 1. Hold it. Open. And close. 7. 6. 5. 4. Don't forget about your core. And 2. And 1. Awesome. Hold for a moment. Let it go. I'm going to take my hand to my ankle and just gently press my hip forward. Keep your bottom leg how it is. Straighten out the top leg when you get here. All right. Little circles. Focusing on the back part of that circle. 4, 3, 2, and 1 other way. 7, 6. You can go bigger. How still can you keep those hips as you move the leg? You'll see how stable your pelvis is. Last 2. Last 1. Take that knee in, give it a little hug. If you're feeling fancy, you could grab that big toe and go for a little stretch. Ooh, we're gonna switch sides. Let's go to the other side and activate some lateral stability there. I'm gonna roll over. So support your head in your arm. Knees out, feet back, so feet, you can kind of see them behind your back. We're just engaging. And this can be small, it can just be little ones, little engagements, and think about this is one of the ultimate core recovery moves. So we get the glutes firing, we get that lateral stability plus core all at the same time. Last 3, 2, and 1. Keep the knees down, fishtail. Last 3. Even if you're just hovering them off the ground, work with where you're at. Last 1. Hold the foot. Open, close, open, close. You got it. Last 1. Hold for a moment and release. Activate the top leg. Little circles out from the hip. So thinking about your heel leading this movement. Other way. Just going for 8. So you can place your hand on your glute. See if you can activate as you kick it back. Last 3, 2, and 1. Grab your ankle. And then bring it in. You can hold it here or grab the big toe, stretch it out, crack. Let it go. All right, bring yourself to your chest for a moment. Lengthen out those arms. And then we're gonna end in a sort of tranquil pose. So I'm gonna make a hand sandwich. Stack your hands. Place your cheek. I've got my right cheek and then my left knee is coming up. So you stay here, take a few breaths. Soften through the belly. Stay for one more breath. Bring that knee back in. Go to the other side. Place your left cheek on your hands. Right knee comes up. Now you're here. Taking a few breaths here. Feeling fully supported by the ground beneath you. I'm going to bring that leg in. Bend the knees. Take the knees a little wider than hip width. And then we're just going to windshield wipe the feet. So if this feels good, keep doing this, or you can bring the feet together and open. You might feel a little difference in the outer edge of the hips. Just a couple more. And then bend those knees, reach those arms behind you, give a little pull, reach, and let it go. We're gonna press back to child's pose. You can bend those knees, take them wide, stretch back. Those arms are out in front of you. You're gonna reach them to one side. I'm gonna go to my left. Take a nice big breath into the rib cage. And then take it to the other side. And then we'll bring it back to center. All right, I want to give you two options for the last bit, the last couple of minutes. Option one, nice little mobility thing, get your spine going. Option two, psoas release. So option one, you're still in this position, you're gonna bring it around, circle, bring the knees back in line with the hips, circle out the hips. Maybe you're looking for a little more energy, a little more movement, really pressing the glutes to the corners. The knees are getting a little warm up too. So that's your option. You can keep going like that, bring it forward and back, juice up those hips real good. Option two, if you have a pillow or a block, you're gonna release the psoas. So a lot of things, a lot of emotions are held in the psoas, particularly trauma. This is something they've identified through science. You can look it up. I've got a block. This could be a deep release or a bolster, something squishy. So either your block, and you're gonna come here. I've got a big block, so this is quite deep. I would do one side and then the other. So you see this opening through the front of the hip. Well, the psoas attaches in a few spots at the back of the rib cage. So it's going all the way through here, and it's responsible for this movement. So what we're doing is releasing. And so we're not doing anything. You want to find that letting go. Halfway switch sides. If you have a bolster, I'll just demonstrate. The bolster is a little more gentle. Mine's big too. Similar thing, or you could use a couch pillow. See, at least we're squishing in here. This is better than a block, I think. you'll find your thing, and you can go here too. You may not really feel anything happening. It's subtle, but it is deep. So you don't want to feel a big pulling, otherwise your body will resist it. So you want it to be a little more subtle. And I suggest one side at a time, especially if you carry a lot of tension in your hip flexors. So choose your option. You're either circling the hips, or maybe you're going to release the psoas today. And if you are, do both sides, and then drink lots of water. You can stay as long as you want. I recommend starting small and working your way up because it is quite intense. Again, you may not feel it right off the bat. It may be something you notice a few days from now, and if you do it too deeply, you might get a little pinch in your back. And a few breaths here. So you can pause, stay as long as you want. And we'll see you back next Friday. If you liked the video, give me a thumbs up and hit subscribe.